here we're going to do a population math. So the first one we're going to take a look at here is here we go. We're going to look at a population of 270 deer living in an island that is 270 deer living in an island that is 830 square kilometers in size. What's the population density of the deer per square kilometer? So all you have to do is just divide these two. So we're going to have 1,270 deer, and they're taking up 830 kilometers. So 1,270 divided by 830. So I'm going to use a calculator for that. That's called calculator 84. So 1,270 divided by 830. And that tells you there's 1.53 deer. 1.53 deer per kilometer. And so that's how you do this this problem. It's actually square kilometers, but that's okay. And so that's all you got to do is take the number you have and divide it by the area, and that gives you your population density. Okay, so now let's go to question number 2. A city with 53,340 people has 876 deaths. What's the birth rate? All right, and so we have the birth rate, and we have it as a percentage and as a crude birth rate. And to remind you, a crude birth rate, we're going to take a look at per 1,000 people. Okay, so you have 876 births, and the total population is 53,340, and then we'll take that number and we'll multiply it by 100 to get a percent. So 876 divided by 53,340 times 100, and that's going to give us a 1.6% or 1.64%. Okay, so now how do we get our crude birth rate into, or how do we get our birth rate into crude birth rate or per 1,000? Is we're going to do basically the same thing, except now instead of multiplying by 100 to get percent, we're going to take it and multiply it by 1,000. See, there's the 1,000. That's the important part. So it's going to be 0.016 times 1,000, or 16. So the crude birth rate here is 16 per 1,000 people. And those are our two answers. All right. And yes, are they the same? They're the same number, but they kind of mean different things. Right? The population has a birth rate of 0.16%. Is saying something a little bit different than saying that there are 16 births per 100,000 people. Okay. Another city has a population of 8,436 and experiences 120 deaths. What's the death rate? By percentage and crude death rate, which is per 1,000. This is per 100. Okay, so we end up doing the exact same math. 120 divided by 8436 times 100. 120 divided by 84, I lost my number here, 8436, yep, 8436 times 100, that's going to be 1.4%. And then the same thing for the crude death rate, except now we're going to multiply by 1,000. 120 deaths in a population of 8,436 people per 1,000. And I can actually just do that in my head. I'm going to add another 0, so it's going to be 14 people per 1,000. All right. And so that's kind of all you got to do. So, cool. The next question is, we have a village of 23,473 people, and it has a birth rate, it has 2,342 births and 473 deaths. What's the growth rate? Okay, so this is population growth rate here, so we're going to take our total population on the bottom, and then you'll remember that birth rate, that growth rate is births minus deaths. So it's 2342 births minus 473 deaths. And then we take that and we multiply that by 100. And that's going to be the answer here. So let's go ahead and do that in our calculator. 2342 minus 473. Divide that by the whole population. And then multiply by 100. And our total growth rate is almost 8%, 7.96%. And that's the growth rate. So I know it's a little different than what we did in class, but it's not a big deal. We can modify it easily. All right, now here's one that will look like the one in class. So we have a small country of 744,785 people, and it has 44,678 immigrants and 12,576 emigrants. They also experience 15,898 deaths and 35,665 births. What's the growth rate of this small country? So now we take all of our pieces and put it together. So first thing, the easiest one to do is to put on the bottom that our total population is 744,785 people. And now we're going to take our birth rate plus our immigration. So that's 35,665 plus, that's the births plus the people entering the country. So that's 44,678. And we have to subtract from that the people that are leaving. So the people that are leaving because they're dead, 15,898. And the people who are leaving because they're moving to another country, 12,567. And so that's how you set up this problem. Let's do those parentheses first, because that's the easy way to do this. Well, afterwards, we also got to multiply this whole thing by 100 to get percent, right? Okay. So let's do our births, our adds first. So 35,665 plus the people that are moving in, 44,678. And we're going to take that number and we're going to subtract it from the deaths, or I should say the exits, the deaths plus immigrants. 15,898 minus 12,567. And yes, you can do this as two parts. I'm just being lazy. And our net change is a positive 77,012. So 77,012 divided by the total population, 744,785, like that. So we'll divide it by our whole population, 744,785. And then we multiply it by 100 to get percent. So the growth rate of this country is 10.34%. 10.34% is the growth rate. All right. Next question. So, how many years will it take for this population to double? All right. So this is the rule of 70. So we're going to take 70. We're going to divide it by the growth rate. So we found the growth rate to be 10.34%, and that'll give us our answer. So 70 divided by 10.34. So the doubling point time of 6.8 years. That's how long it takes the population to double. All right. Now, if a population were doubling its size every 35 years, what would the growth rate be? So this is the doubling time. So 70 divided by 35. 70 divided by 35, that's 2. So that'd be a 2% growth rate. All right. So, maybe I was kind of lazy about that. Let me show you how I got there. So 70 divided by our percent is going to equal 35 years. And now I'm just going to switch these two. That's how I did that. All right. At the end of 2002, there were 1,284,530,000 people living in China. China is the third largest country in the world with an area of 9.6 million square kilometers. What's the population density? So this is that same thing with the deer. All we got to do is rephrase this. So 1, 2, 8, 4, 5, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0. We divide that by the amount of space. So 9.6 million square kilometers. So we can just write it like that. And you get 1, 2, 8, 4. I lost my numbers. 1, 2, 8, 4, 5, 3, and then 4 zeros. We divide that by the land area, so 9, is it 9.8? 9 or 9.6? 9.6. All right, and so there are 13.38. I think I made a mistake in there. I think it's supposed to be bigger than that. Oh yeah, I see what I did wrong. Is one too many zeros there. 1, 2, 3. No. Is there an extra zero supposed to be here? Yep, there you go. There's our problem. So we have 1,338 people per square kilometer. Okay. In 2002, 16.47 million babies are born in China. What's the birth rate? So again, 100 and 1,000. So we're going to use the same equation as we used for the deer before. That we're going to take our babies, 16 point. I'm not going to do the point. 16, 400. All right, and the population is 1, 2, 8, 4, 5, 3, 0, 0, 0. And that'll get us times 100. I think I'm making a mistake here. Let's see, 16. Nope, that's right. Okay. just big numbers. I want to make sure I got it right. 16, 47000, 4 zeros, divided by the population of 1.28453 times 100. So we have a birth rate of 1.28%. And a crude birth rate is going to add is just going to be the same thing, but we're going to add another 0 to that. So the birth rate is 1,282 per 1,000. Would be the crude birth rate, CBR. All right. So that's our first page of this problem. And I'm going to end my video right here. I'll come back and do page 2 later.